Hey guys, in this video, we chat about LinkedIn B2B lead generation strategies that can be used for consultants, entrepreneurs, and businesses who are looking to reach new prospects and drive qualified leads. Welcome back to Marketing Hustle. My name is Zaryn Sidhu, and on this channel, we simplify marketing so that you can grow your digital influence and your business. Now, if this is your first time here, you should consider subscribing as we post weekly videos that cover lead and sales generation tactics to drive higher ROI. Now, LinkedIn is the most effective B2B lead generation platform with over 500 million monthly active users, and now the platform over-indexes in career-oriented individuals and decision makers at small to enterprise level businesses. And unlike other social networks, users on LinkedIn aren't using it for entertainment, to pass some time. They're using the platform to look for information, to discover industry news, to get acquainted with different ideas, to ultimately grow their personal brand and their business. Now, the question is, how can you intercept these users to drive leads for your business? And in this video, I want to give you 3 solid strategies that I've crafted over the last 5 years of running hundreds of thousands of dollars on LinkedIn ads for several different clients. So let's jump right into it. The first and foremost, most important thing that you should be doing when you're setting up an ads campaign in LinkedIn to generate higher converting B2B leads is having an audience first approach to planning. What does that mean? That means that the number one thing you should be planning against is the size of your audience. Now, there is science behind advertising. We don't just run ads, set them up for conversions, and then just expect leads to turn into sales. It just doesn't happen that way. And what we love to do, what we see that drives the most amount of impact when running ads on LinkedIn is to, first of all, think about what stage of the journey is your buyer in. Are they in the beginning stages or are they on their later stages? Now, this is gonna be very, very different depending on what vertical you're in. But to give you guys an example, if you have somebody that's a decision maker at a company and they're looking to buy some new software, let's say that software is in the $30,000, $40,000 price range. So it's a little expensive. That might be a longer journey versus if it was software that was like in the $500 a year range. That's a lot cheaper, shorter decision process. You don't need as much approval. There's not as much thinking. The more money it is and the more complex it is, the longer the journey. What kind of information do people need towards the beginning of their journey? Well, maybe in the beginning, they're trying to just understand what kind of options are out there. So understanding your brand's value proposition is important in the beginning, where in the middle of the process, maybe they are comparing. So maybe they're comparing how Trello stacks up to Asana from a project management perspective versus how it stacks up against Monday.com. And versus towards the end, maybe now they're looking at pricing. So first they're trying to understand what are the different options in the market and what are their value propositions. Then they're trying to understand how do they compare to each other. And then now they're looking at pricing. So pricing is when they're at a further part of their stage. So when you're building your campaigns, you want to make sure that you're building it in a way that you can reach your audience multiple times. If your audience is only seeing your ad one time, it's not gonna be effective. It's just not. That's not how things work. On average, we see that it takes at least 10 impressions, 10 digital touch points, meaning a prospect has to see your ad at least 10 times to get them to go from, I don't know who your brand is or who you are, to now I have some intent to purchase. Again, now it might be different depending what the circumstances of your prospect is. If you're reaching the influencer or the decision maker, there are gonna be different factors, but you wanna plan for that accordingly. Now, how do you actually do that? Let's take it a step further. Let's say that a $1,000 budget allows you to reach your audience one time in a week. Let's say you're gonna run a 6-week campaign. At the end of 6 weeks, you would end up touching your consumer 6 times, right? It's not enough. So what that means is that now you need to increase your budget to the point that you can at least touch them with a greater frequency so that at the end of 6 weeks, you've touched them at least 10 times. So you might need to double that budget. I'm gonna share with you guys an audience worksheet calculator that is gonna take all of the hassle of trying to figure this out. There's a formula to do this. I'm gonna share it with you guys in the link below so that you don't have to worry about just trying to figure this out for yourself. But the most important thing is when you go on LinkedIn and you build your audience size, you want to plug that into this audience sheet calculator, and then you want to plug in your estimated CPM, which we're actually going to talk about a little bit in a second. And then that's going to actually tell you what is the right budget that you need for your campaign, depending on what your audience size is. This is the most important thing that's going to drive results for your campaign. Shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about the high CPMs on LinkedIn. Now, the CPM is the cost per measure. It's the cost per reaching 1,000 users. It's a very standard measurement that allows you to compare across different platforms what prices look like. So to give you an idea, if you were running ads on Facebook, on average, we see a $6 to $9 CPM. However, that is a totally different platform. It has greater scale. There's over 2 billion users on the platform. LinkedIn is a different place. You have a premium audience, and you'll tend to see CPMs around the $25 to $100 mark, which are insanely higher if you compare it to Facebook and Instagram. Why is this? You're paying for a premium audience on the platform. Users on Facebook and Instagram are using it for a whole different other reason: distraction, entertainment. On LinkedIn, that's not what's happening. You have professionals. This is the professional networking platform. So they have a different level of intention. Think about your own behavior when you're on LinkedIn. One of the things we've tended to see is that something that offsets high CPMs is higher click-through rates, higher engagement, more qualified traffic. So although it's more expensive to advertise, once you do get in front of them, they are more likely to take an action on LinkedIn than they are on other platforms. So it's something to keep in mind. Now, if you're a new advertiser, here's a little quick hack. Do not start with sponsored content. That's gonna be the most expensive. Advertising on the newsfeed on mobile will be the most expensive. Start with text ads. Text ads show up on the side of the screen on desktop. They can also show up on the top of the screen on desktop. They'll show up as text ads on top, but on the side, the text ads will also include a picture. Those CPMs tend to be 25% to 75% cheaper. So if you're a new advertiser and you're just testing things out, that's one way to mitigate the high CPM. But again, something you want to keep in mind, you're paying more because it's a premium audience. They tend to over-index when it comes to higher net worths, and odds are they're going to be more qualified. So very, very important to keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about different kind of ad units. We've mentioned sponsored content, which those are the ads that are static that you see in your newsfeed. There is text ads, which we talked about as well. In-mail is something that's very, very interesting. It's specific to LinkedIn. It's the ability to send a direct message that goes into somebody's actual inbox. So it's one-to-one, it's very personalized, and can be extremely effective. It's also very expensive. Another type of ad unit that they recently released is video. So you could use video to drive people to your website. You can use video to get people to watch to completion and really educate them on your brand. I would recommend for you to start with text ads and sponsored content and use a 70-20-10 approach. Now, this is a common framework that we use in the advertising world, where 70% of your money should go into the things that you know works, your tried and true. 20% of your budget is what you use to test with. And then 10% is opportunistic, so that if you see something working really well, you take that extra slush fund money and you just dump it into stuff that's working. I would put 70% of your investment in the beginning into text ads and into sponsored content. And I would slowly test into video formats, carousel formats as well for lower funnel, for conversion, which they actually are now releasing the ability to optimize for conversions, and for in-mail ad units as well. These are some really good strategies that you can start at the beginning of running your ads campaigns. Now, there is so much you can do, and I'm gonna continue to make videos like this to help you guys out. So stay tuned to the channel. If you guys have any comments and thoughts on this video, make sure to post it below. Just remember, this is a starting point. We also have a LinkedIn Ad Hacks cheat sheet that we're gonna be working on. And in the future, just look in the description below and you'll probably find that. That's gonna give you some additional hacks that are a little bit more advanced than what we're talking about in this video, so that you guys can continue to drive higher converting and qualified leads on LinkedIn. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning into Marketing Hustle, where we simplify marketing so that you can grow your digital influence and your business. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you learned something new. And until the next video, peace.